Hi, Rich Hoffman here. So the Department of Education, Trump signed an executive order to begin dismantling it. I always said that was going to happen. Warned everybody years in advance that this was the fate of it. Ronald Reagan should have done it in the 80s, in the early 80s, 81, 82, when he had the opportunity to. Jimmy Carter never had a right to go create it, to start it, but all it's ever done is really kind of strengthen the unions, and it really made, you can look around, look at our education system, and it's not what we need it to be. It certainly isn't a top 10 education system, and if it's not, then we have no right to even do anything. Unless you're doing something to fix and put yourself in the top 10, you're not trying to solve the problem. And the first thing that, after Trump signed the executive order on beginning the process of dismantling the Department of Education, all the same union type people came out and said, "Oh, this is the billionaires trying to take away quality education." There is nothing of quality about our public education system. It's about funneling money that is given out at the federal level, and it trickles 10, 13% of it ends up at your local school, and it's a bunch of little birds looking for a cheap and easy worm. Problem with public education, and the problem with zip code oriented education systems. And in Ohio, this is what Vivek Ramaswamy is talking about fixing. When you have merit-based pay, and we're out there, if you're a teacher and you work hard, you want to do a good job, you want to be a good teacher, you should be happy that you have an opportunity to make a lot more money. The argument was never about whether or not teachers should make a lot of money or not, or could make a lot of money or not. The problem is when you have collective bargaining, you have all teachers assumed to be equal, making a lot of money that they don't deserve. And you have them not working very hard, very many hours, getting a disproportionate amount of the budget for not really performing well. Any organization that you're in and you got a bunch of bottom feeders in it, just sort of milking off the system, and you're paying them to basically be slugs, they're going to drag you down. And if you really want to fix a place and work any kind of, whatever industry it is, education is an industry. Teaching kids is a business. And if you just take government money and throw it into a pot, and the union divides it all up among tiered personnel, you're not really paying for quality work, and that shows in the results. And for years now, we have had poor results, and it certainly shows on the report card. The United States is not anywhere close to being in the top 10 of any of the countries of the world, and we should be at top. We should be number one. To be honest with you, we're not teaching kids the right things for the right reasons, and beyond that, education has become a propaganda factory for Marxism. It clearly, unequivocally, has been, in order to get the money from the federal government or from the state or from taxpayers, the way that you get it is you keep putting a curriculum out there that teaches leftist ideology, and people are tired of it. And taxpayers don't want the money extracted from their property taxes anymore. They don't want it to go the way it has. This isn't the years of Greece, where everybody's working hard to go to the school dance with Sandy and they're singing about endless nights on the beach during summer. That's not the high school experience that baby boomers experienced. The high school experience of today is much different. What we get is a bunch of Antifa kind of teachings from these radical leftist teachers, and they're not learning the right stuff, and they're not going off and getting out of high school and raising good families, becoming good people, and living good lives. They're broken in a lot of ways. They're very disjointed for many years thereafter. And I'd say by the time a lot of kids get to be 25, 26 years old, they had so many mistakes in their lives because of all these bad influences, Marxist in general. The attempt to separate parents from their children so the state could raise them has been wrapped up in this whole Department of Education philosophy. So it had to be dismantled before you could ever fix it. And before you could ever create a merit-based system, you had to get the whole federal infusion out of the way and send all that stuff back to the states so you can have a competitive model between the states. Always said that was going to be the issue. Now, I was at a Lakota school board meeting recently. Now, Lakota is a school district where I live, just north of the I-275 loop, northern Cincinnati. And they're all distraught because they're upset because they've lost $9 million. It's a big school district. They have a $250 million budget. So they lost $9 million to some ed choice, some school vouchers. And they don't understand why people are wanting to leave the leave their school and go take the money with them, which takes money out of their budget, or so they think anyway. Yeah, that's the start of their problems. I'm listening to them talk about this, like, what planet are you people on? Don't you understand what's coming? I mean, I've tried to explain it to you for a long time. The education model, going all the way back to when I did regular interviews on radio, like Clear Channel, WLW in Cincinnati. I was on like every week for a while, for a couple of years, talking about education issues. And I warned everybody back then, this unconstitutional system that was built in Ohio, and the rest of the country has similar problems. That unconstitutional system never had performance attached to it, and it shows in the kids. So you're throwing endless amounts of money at something that the union says is quality. It's only quality for them because it allows them to not have to work very hard and get paid a lot of money through collective bargaining. And that whole model was a complete screw up. So the money coming from the federal government, the 10%, 13%, whatever it ends up being proportionally to a local school budget, that was going to go away. So what are you going to do when that's not there anymore? Because all that money is going to go back to the states. Your cost per pupil can't be $16,000 per child. It has to, or $10,000 per child. You need to find a way to get your cost per pupil, per student, down under 6, under 5, and make it so that they are performing higher than anybody else in the world. The association that more money spent produces higher quality is completely wrong. And if every business in the world did that, they would be all out of business. The best way to go about fixing that problem is you go through and clean up all your bad bottom feeders that are on your payroll, get them out of there. Don't pay them any money, let alone a lot of money, and filter them out and replace them with better people. And then you have to create a district. The challenge for, like Lakota in this case, the Lakota School Board is going to have to find a way to go get school board members who can make the district desirable in a competition with other surrounding districts. People might live in the region and not want to have to drive too far or send their kid too far to school, and that might be the first hook. The second hook is, are they going to get good education? Is the education going to be better than the next door the school that's nearby, or the charter school? It's all about competition, and that's the feature of the future of all education is competition, which is a scary word for unions that don't want any competition. But when you look around all the industries that failed out there, and you see all the union first jobs, and we built this with union money, whenever you hear that, you think, well, the product is overpriced and it probably doesn't work very well, because the people who put it together didn't put it together with a lot of passion. They put it together because they had to, and they had union rules, and they only worked for a minimum of the 8 hours that day, and then if the work wasn't done, they're already out in the parking lot going home, and the work will wait till the next day, because that's the union attitude. They don't build things with great quality in general, because it's under collective bargaining. You're only as good as the weakest link. You don't have exceptionalism driving competition, so other people who aren't performing so well have to perform better. You're keeping even the slugs on your payroll when you shouldn't. And that's why ultimately these schools need to have a more competitive atmosphere, and that's what's going to happen now as a result of not having the Department of Education driving things from the top down, but it goes back to the states. States manage their own stuff, and people will move to states that have good education systems. And that's going to be in the state of Ohio. We're going to elect Vivek Ramaswamy to create a merit-based teaching system. You know, you might have teachers who make $200,000 a year if they're really good and highly sought after, and people are coming to the district because they want their kid to be taught by that person. But that's a competitive model. The teacher union doesn't want anything to do with that, because they want their slugs to do just as well and pay as their high performers. And there's never an incentive for a high performer to outperform everybody else when they all get paid the same. What you got to do is you got to create merit-based pay, so people who have exception, who are very good at their jobs, can rise to the top, get these jobs, attract parents and children to that district because they want that teacher to teach them. And you got to create that kind of competition for anything to work. And that's the future of education in Ohio and all across the country as a direct result of dismantling the Department of Education. So it's not about getting rid of quality education, as the union has been saying in the wake of President Trump's executive order on dismantling public education through the Department of Education. It's all about creating competition, because without competition, you just don't have You're just not trying to create a quality product, and you're certainly not trying to help kids get a good education. And so if you're already way behind in education, you're going to do the same dumb thing every year, year after year, and you're talking about tossing endless amounts of money at bad employees who are in the education system, and the good teachers are not rising to the top because they're held down by collective bargaining. Well, then you got to break that structure up in order to get the good ones to the top, and that's how you get the best school districts to compete against each other, and that's how you get kids to have a better education. That's how you get people, like in Lakota's situation, if you don't want people going away from your school district, you got to attract them to your district. That means you need school board members that are going to be able to attract people to your district and make it exciting, make them want to come there. But chain them to it, like through some form of communism, making them partaking your product because the money is attached to the zip code is insane. And that's what we've been doing all this time, and we got to stop doing it. And the first step to stop doing that was Trump signing the executive order to dismantle the Department of Education, because it was a top-down monstrosity from the very beginning, and it never should have been created in the first place. And after 50-some years of it, it's been a disaster, and it's time to get rid of it, and we are. And I'm happy to see that first step happening, but I told everybody it was coming. You should have prepared. I'm Rich Hoffman here. Share, subscribe, make tomorrow a better day. If you haven't read my book, Gunfighter's Guide to Business, I think you'll love it. Anyway, have a good day. See you later.